Right, here we go.
Rugby League from Wakefield. Hemmings are the Women's Super League champions. The most amazing day for the Leeds Rhino. Warrington dominating. Great try for the Robins. Huddersfield Giants take the points home. He missed it! It's a poor lad. That is one sensational try. 3 in a row, the Saints. The three-peat is achieved. An 8th grand final win for the Red Bee.
Hello and welcome to The Last Tackle. I'm delighted to welcome to the studio Warrington forward. Got to get used to saying that. Warrington forward, Carl Amor, and the voice of Rugby League for many, of course, Eddie Hemmings. Gents, thanks for coming in. Carl, first of all, we will talk about Warrington later on, but how's it going?
Yeah, good. No, really good. We are making sort of good progress that we want. We identified over a couple of weeks ago our little plan to sort of try and turn our season around. There's still plenty of time left, and the goal hasn't changed really. So we'll just keep going with that, Mark.
And I know you have Warrington fans on your back, don't you? But they're only, what, 4 points behind and get back in the playoffs?
Yeah, they're only 4 points behind to get back in the playoffs, but they're perilously close to the relegation zone, aren't they? I mean, look, I think we all know and believe in our heart of hearts, although they will say that July is a massive month for them, that Toulouse are doomed, they're gone, which is a great shame. You know, they come up and they go down. League come up and they go down. They ought to be given some time. But you're right, Warrington are not too far away from that end, but they're also not too far away from this end as well. And I must say, on a personal note, it is a delight to be in the studio with the new voice of Rugby League, because Kyle is on everything at the moment. Absolutely everything. Welcome to the big, wide, wonderful world of media.
Oh, brilliant, Eddie. I mean, I'm really enjoying it, mate. So, no, it's...
better than playing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it doesn't hurt as much, does it? So, yeah.
Hey, he grafts at Eddie. He absolutely grafts at it as well. Great to see you, Carl. Great to see you, Eddie. Right, only one place to start, and it's Warrington, but we're talking internationals and the double header last Saturday.
Opportunity to get in this shirt's massive, it's magic.
I want to win. I'm in this to win. I want to see a certain level of performance, but winning is the most important thing to me.
To work on now, like I said at the beginning, there's room for improvement, so we're really looking forward to obviously getting stuck into obviously the preparation for the World Cup and looking forward to some more.
And a very good weekend for England, not just for the men, for the women beating France 36-10, and for the wheelchair rugby as well, which we'll talk about in a moment. But let's talk about Sean Wayne's men first of all. I thought that was a really good defensive display.
I thought exactly the same. I think he'll be happy with the victory, first of all, and he'll be happy that they actually got the team out on the field. That's only his third game since he was appointed some 2.5, 3 years ago. So he'll be delighted to be back in action. Defensively, you're right. I thought they were pretty good. Offensively, 18-0 up in 4 minutes in the second half. We all sat back and thought, right, let's see what you can do now in attack. And it never quite happened. But, you know, 1 or 2 stars. Welsby, I think, is tearing it up this year, Jack Welsby. John Bateman, who we saw in the interview, tremendous game from him. Strangely, Sean has apparently got 3 or 4 already nailed on for the World Cup. John Bateman isn't one of them. He said after the match...
He might have to be out performance, sure.
Well, you would think so, but he said he spotted a couple of defensive flaws and he's going to have a word with him, and John has taken it on the chin and said, yeah, well, I see where he's coming from. So if that's the standard that Sean is setting now, come October, it might be okay.
Let's get one debate over. We've got the right man in charge, haven't we? I love his passion.
Yeah, without doubt. You know, he's like what Eddie was saying. He's such a the standards he sets for his playing group are so high that there's no other way other than to do exactly what he wants. And you know, I think even having a go at John Bateman, who's been his captain, was there last October as well, wasn't he, for that France?
Quite deliberate.
So
isn't it? Yeah.
You know, what's that sending out to everybody else within that playing group? You know, if John Bateman as captain, because
John Bateman was superb that game.
Exactly. So, but look, he's always looking for improvements, and if that's things he identifies, then it sends a big message out to the rest of the playing group. But just on the game as well, I thought it was great to see not only Jack Welsby but Matty Lees, Jake Wardle, Matty Ashton included in the squad as well. So
because Jake Wardle's hardly played, has he, for Huddersfield?
Exactly. You know. So the experience that'll give them, and obviously as well for Sean, looking at how those players react in and around camp, it's only going to be a good thing going forward for those players. So
and also George Williams.
Yeah,
he looked rejuvenated, because let's be honest, you know, I mean, Kyle's not been at Warrington that long, but poor old George is going through the horrors at the moment. He's getting some terrible stick from the terraces as well. He's a quality player, and Sean trusts him. Obviously, he trusts him from his time at Wigan. You know, and he on his day, he's a great player, and he played really well on Saturday. I think between now and the end of the season, George and all the rest, you know, other than the 3 or 4 that may already have had the word in their ear, they've all got to perform now between now and grand final to make sure that they're in the England squad.
And how good is Jack Welsby, or how good could Jack Welsby be?
I think he's brilliant. You know, I think even just knowing the lad off the field as well, and he's one of these young kids that's just so much older than his age. And look, he's played in a number of positions at Saints, and each time he's played, well, he's delivered. So for me, he's got to be in that team. You know, whether he's in the squad or the match day 17. But at the minute right now, I think you have to play him in the 17 as well. So he's that much of a special player, but he won't hang his hat on that. He'll continue to keep working hard, and that's just the kind of bloke he is. So he gets. I hope he gets everything that comes his way.
And it's interesting, isn't it, that probably Sam Tompkins is one of those 3 or 4 I've talked about that he's going to be. He's the England captain.
I thought he did really well.
And
Sam
he played
Tompkins.
well as well. Now he's playing full back. Jack Welsby is full back for St Helens, but Sean found a place for him at standoff alongside George.
Well, and that's what's happened at Saints, and a number of times he's played loose forward, centre, half, full back. He's just one of the very few that's in the game that is a natural rugby player. You know, that you just stick him on that field and he'll, you know, he doesn't let position specifics bother him too much. He just goes out and plays, and boy, when he does, he comes up with the goods.
Does he know how good he is?
I would like to think he does, but no, I don't think he does. No.
It's an attribute, isn't it?
Exactly.
I was going to say, because he's got his feet firmly on the ground and he wants to progress. He's an outstanding player. I mean, I thought the combination at half-back for Saints with Lewis Dodd was going to come through in exactly the same way as well. Poor old Lewis had the season-ending injury, but you know, they've signed him on, haven't they? They've signed him. They've kept him going because he's showed great talent and prospect as well.
Eddie, let's be honest, this is all about that first game against Samoa, isn't it? At Newcastle, and there's a game against Fiji as well. So after that, obviously, there's a long way to go. There's a lot of rugby between now and the World Cup. They got beat by the All-Stars last year. Is Sean Wayne happy? Or is he happier?
He's happier than 12 months ago. I mean, we all thought when they lost to the All-Stars 12 months ago, we were on the verge of a World Cup anyway. It is postponed and it's this year. he hasn't got the time. He's had the players together, I think, rarely. He certainly has got this game, the one that he's got lined up just before the tournament starts. And then he's got Samoa. Now, Samoa, they could actually put a spoke in the wheel the very first weekend of this World Cup if we're not careful, because they've got some talent. They're playing the Pacific Nations International Series this weekend. I've looked through the team sheet. Well, look, I look through every rugby league team sheet. They frighten me to death. But
we'll know a bit more after this weekend, won't we? Because New Zealand played Tonga in Auckland as well.
And Tonga, I think I'm right in saying, got to the quarterfinals of the last World Cup. Samoa have got it on their radar that they want to do better than that. Yeah. And they've got Matt Parrish in charge, and Richard Agar has flown to Sydney. He's part of the coaching team for Samoa. The ex-Leeds boss, of course, Richard. And he's down there now. He knows more than anybody in that camp of Samoa what Super League and these English players are all about.
I think what we've seen in the NRL over the last few years is now 50% of the playing group are Pacific Islanders. So not only is it Samoa, you've got Tonga, you've got Fiji. All of these nations have been working away and getting better and better each week. And traditionally, the Pacific Islander players, they didn't really have too much of a big engine in them, but they are now. And the growth and the development over those players in the last sort of 5 to 10 years has got them to where they are today. And I'll be honest, I do fear for England. I think there's a lot of challenge ahead of them.
Australia are 2-7 favourites to the World Cup. They've not played since 2019. We're going to see New Zealand this weekend play Tonga in Auckland, like we mentioned. So New Zealand is 6-1. England are 7-1, third favourites. What can England do? They've got to really play on this home advantage, haven't they?
Yeah, without doubt. They've got to. You're right. They've got to use home advantage to every advantage that they possibly can. And
we've got to try and sell out St James's Park, haven't we, for that first game against Samoa?
Definitely. And it's it's a great venue, isn't it? We were speaking before we came on air with the Magic Weekend being at there, and how much of a carnival atmosphere that venue can hold. Well, hopefully we can replicate that as well. So, but I do think it's going to be a difficult World Cup for England, and we'll just have to wait and see how it all unfolds.
We were an ankle tap away last time. What can England do this time?
Well, first of all, I'd tell Sean Wayne to stop his players watching the State of Origin, because that first State of Origin was outstanding, and the second one's coming up this weekend. Yeah. Just brilliant, and they come from nowhere. Munster, man of the match in the first game. New South Wales have got to win the second to progress on, and Brad Fittler has named 7 new faces. I was talking to Steve-O in Australia only last night. There are 7 new faces. They're international standard. Could we, in this country, if we had lost 7 players or we decided to make 7 changes, could we find 7 international standard players to pull on the England jersey? I mean, their depth is unbelievable down there. It really is unbelievable. Listen, home advantage or not, it is going to be a massive challenge for England and Sean Wayne. But you are right, Mark. The best man in charge is the bulldog breed that we've got in Sean Wayne.
Yeah, I think he's going to make a massive difference.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Because you can just tell,
if there's anyone who can
he'd die for his country, wouldn't he?
If there's anyone who can make these players find another level just through sheer will and want, it's that man, isn't it, Sean Wayne? Yeah. But, I agree with Eddie. The depth that they've got over there compared to over here is alarming. I just think as a team, I just don't think England are big enough.
Well, there's so many Super League clubs that aren't big enough. Kyle's playing for one of them. That's been the problem at Warrington for a couple of years. The pack is not big enough. And with all due respect, you're a big lad, but they don't come looking necessarily for English players. They go to the NRL and they bring the Islanders up. Yeah. And that's what they're doing for 2023 Warrington.
Well, it is World Cup, The women, they beat France 36-10. And Carl, I know you've been commentating on a few women's games as well, haven't you? Look, I think it's brilliant. Look, I've got a daughter, so I think it's brilliant how women's sport is now getting on this profile it should get. But the women's team, it's probably, well, they are the best team in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
We don't know how they compare to the Southern Hemisphere, do we?
Well, no, and I've only seen sort of clips of the NRLW through social media channels to, know there is an Origin game on this week, which will be interesting to watch as well. But the clips that I've seen and the standard that they are at, you've got to remember these girls over there, they are full-time players, which is a big difference. Our girls, although we're now getting them on the right platforms, the Sky and stuff like that, they still are amateurs, so they don't have access to the conditioning, they don't have access to the all the things that come with being a full-time player. They only get them on an evening. So, I think that will show in the World Cup as well. But certainly where the women's game's going, it's heading for the right direction. But I just think the clips that I've seen, they are a cut above at the minute. But
that's 2 wins on the bounce, so going in the right direction.
Yes,
the England
for sure. Yeah, you can only sort of play what's in front of you, and you only got to look at the Betfred Women's League now. We've now got, instead of it being one dominant team, we've now got 3. We've got York sitting at the top of the table, which has never been done before. So York beat Leeds, didn't they, a few weeks ago? So the progression's there, it just needs a bit more time.
And a double header on Sky as well tomorrow night. So women's first, then St Helens Leeds. We'll talk about that a little later. But the England wheelchair side were also in action on Sunday. Many people were tipping this to be a dress rehearsal of the World Cup final. Let's hear from the captain, Tom Halliwell.
So Tom, a big victory over France today, you must be delighted with that.
Yeah, obviously it's delighting to lead the boys out and get the win, but I've got my captain head on. I thought I need to let's reel it in, we go again. It's not the World Cup yet, so yeah, obviously it's good, but we'll go back and review it, and we'll pick up any things that we need to work on in training and stuff.
What did you make of the performance?
Really, really good in patches, and then really bad in patches. I think we had a spell of 20 minutes where we were letting 3 tries, which were just very, very soft. But I thought some of the rugby we were playing were absolutely phenomenal, and that's what you can expect more in the World Cup.
And a great test ahead of the World Cup, is it, to play the best team in the world?
Yeah, 100%. This has been a massive test. We built it up all week. It's going to be the biggest test of our season so far. So to get the win, it's massive for us, and we can only build on the back of this and get ready for the World Cup.
And obviously, looking at the World Cup, how confident do you feel in your preparation so far?
Yeah, we've still got bits to work on. We're not finished article, but I don't think we'll be ready until the World Cup final, to be honest. But we're working hard, and nothing beats hard work, to be honest. So we're just going to be working hard all the way through until the World Cup.
And the international weekend, it's 3 wins and 3 for England. You must be all pleased with that.
Yeah, obviously it's a massive community, is Rugby League in England. So to get all 3 wins is a massive achievement. So I think it's one of those where all fans can get out because they see how successful the England sides are. So more people come out and watch all 3 sides, the better, to be honest.
And anyone who's not seen wheelchair rugby league yet, what would you say to them to get them to come down?
If they watched the game, you just saw how good it was, to be honest. But it's fast, it's enthralling, there's hard hitting, the skill is absolutely phenomenal. And for me, I'm going to be biased, but it's the best sport in the world. So yeah.
And that was the first international game live on Sky Sports as well. You did the core comms.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's a brilliant spectacle, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant. There's it's just end to end, non-stop. Normally in the running game you do get a chance to sort of have little stoppages in play, but in this you don't. It's one end of the pitch to the other, and some fantastic skill and bravery on show as well.
And Tom Halliwell, he plays for Leeds Rhinos. It's Leeds Rhinos versus the Catland Dragons in the Betfred Challenge Cup final on Saturday. That's live on BBC Sport at 2:30 as well. It's brilliant that the wheelchair game is getting the profile now as well.
Yeah, sure. Catland, obviously it's the first time they've been involved in the Challenge Cup final as well, so there's growth in the game there, isn't there, as well? And that's what we all want to see as rugby league fans. We want to see the game growing in the right direction all the time, and for these players it's another opportunity for them to showcase their skills and get the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, and it's a great chance to showcase rugby league this year, Eddie. We've said this a few times before. What I love about, I'm going to say our World Cup, but Rugby League World Cup is the men's, the women's and the wheelchair all on at the same time.
Well, it's your game, Mark. Never mind, it's your sport at the moment. There is no question about that. Betfred are sponsoring everything in Rugby League. And
no, but we're Rugby League fans as well.
I know you are.
So,
You're massive fans, and that shines through remarkably. Yeah, it's brilliant. In England, 3 wins out of 3 over the weekend, men, women and the wheelchair game. Now, the wheelchair game, they were the top 2 in the world, as you say.
Yeah, France are currently world champions.
France are the world champions. England now have beaten them. And what they pride themselves on as well, and we talk about diversity and inclusivity throughout life at the moment, and this is believed to be the most diverse and inclusive sport on the planet, bar none, because you have non-disabled players, you have men, you have women playing in the same team. It's just brilliant. And by Jove, they take no prisoners, do they? No. There are collisions galore. I mean, the rules are a bit, you've got to get your head around the rules, but I love the drop goal, you know. It's a bit like bump, over we go with the fist. It's fantastic. Love that. Love everything about it. And, you know, good luck to them. Good luck to them.
And again, like all rugby league, they might batter the hell out of each other, but playing in the right spirit as well, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah. And just jumping off the back of what Eddie said, the inclusivity and diversity amongst it all. You know, there's a guy called Declan Roberts who played for England, and he's at the Wigan Warriors. His dad, Phil, is the coach of the Wigan Warriors. And when he was playing the running game, Declan, he at the Leyland Warriors, his dad coached the team from youth, from his chair. So they never thought they'd get an opportunity to play together. So it's a great story, isn't it? And it just shows what rugby league means. And the opportunities that rugby league can give, you know, individuals and families is great. So
and
I'm
the
all for
Coyd family as well. You know, Martin is the general manager of the wheelchair team. His son Tom is the coach, and Joe, Tom's brother, plays. You can't get more inclusive than that, can you? We're from one family. Well, fantastic.
Good luck to Leeds Rhinos and the Cameron Dragons in the Betfred Challenge Cup final, live on BBC Sport as well on Saturday afternoon. We're going to turn our attention to the Betfred Super League. You're watching The Last Tackle on the Sportsman.
Don't miss a thing from the new home of Rugby League Online.
Follow the Sportsman on social media
and follow their YouTube channel for exclusive content.
Yeah, you're watching the Sportsman. We like to stream matches as well. We'll have some details hopefully next week of when we're going to stream some games very shortly. We're going to be streaming some wheelchair matches as well. Right, let's turn our attention to the Betfred Super League double header on Thursday night. The women kickers off at 5:30, St Helens versus Leeds, and then it's the men's St Helens versus Leeds kicking off at 8 o'clock. Right then, Carl, your old club are top of the table. I'm not on after time. I said at the beginning of the season they are going to be difficult to touch, and they're 4 points clear.
Yeah, they are. You know, they've been the benchmark
you can
of the competition.
Still say we if you want.
It took some getting used to that, I'll be honest. But no, you know, they've been the benchmark, haven't they, for the last 3 or 4 years almost. And you know, to be sat 4 points top at this stage of the season, you know, is a great luxury for them to have. But I also think, as well as a player, you're in that mid-season grind now where it's just about winning and keep on winning, and being 4 points top of the table can almost give you a bit of an easy cushion where you could almost take your mind off it. But I'm sure, knowing the way that Christian Wolff has his troops, that I don't think that'll happen. You know, again, I don't think Saints have been brilliant over the last month. They've been getting wins, which is the main thing, but I don't think they've been playing the best rugby. And as for Leeds, that, you know, they're pretty similar to Warrington, aren't they, where they've just been up and down and a bit all over the place. So it'll be interesting, but I think Saints should get the job done.
Yeah, Eddie, I was going to ask about Leeds. Ryan Smith come in 1-2, lost 2. There is signs of improvement, definitely, in Leeds, isn't there?
Well, they were sensational against Warrington, weren't they? At the Halliwell Jones, 40 points to 4. You know, Warrington was in mourning for a week after that. It really was. Yes, it's a new coach. It's a new breed. In fact, Warrington and Leeds, a bit similar. New coaches, new ideas. It'll take time to gel. But Saints and Leeds always is a marquee fixture, isn't it? It really is. And it'll be so interesting to see how they both scrub up after this international break. Leeds going to St Helens, it's a big challenge for them. And Rowan Smith will probably know more about his team after the match this weekend. I agree with you too. I can't see anybody toppling St Helens. I mean, 4 points clear, you know, looking at the fixtures, I think they're going to be 4 points clear at the end of the weekend. I can't see it. I really can't see it changing. I can't.
St Helens victory. So panel's going for a St Helens victory. Friday night, right then, Warrington versus Hull. Right, obviously you've come in part way through the season. You're on loan, Carl. Look, it's tough at Warrington at the moment, isn't it? It's 5 defeats on the bounce.
Yeah, it is actually, and you know, you can almost take that record back, and it's 2 in the last 13, which doesn't really bode well at all for a club the size of Warrington. But you know, I can only comment on from the past couple of weeks and what I've seen. And the first week I went in, I kind of sort of spoke to Pauli and just thought about things that I felt that we were missing coming from the environment that I was in, and certainly not teaching him how to suck eggs by any stretch of the imagination, but it was just little tiny things that I thought we could do as a playing group on the training field to start making little progressions. And I think particularly in the Wakefield game, there was a lot of that evident there, and but the morale and the spirit in the camp is still pretty much quite high, and it's still I'm enjoying my time, but being there, and I'm enjoying what the challenge is ahead of us. And again, we've spoken in a meeting and we've identified what we feel we need to do in order to sort of get to this end goal of hopefully making the playoffs. And there's a lot of work to be done. It ain't going to happen overnight, and I think it's down to us as a playing group. Really, it's on us. It's the tools that Pauli and all that's give us are there. Everyone just needs to buy a ticket and get on board with it.
And this is massive, isn't it? Hull obviously lost the last 2 as well, but this is a home game, Friday night. You really need to win.
Yes, yeah, without doubt. We've been saying this for the last 2 weeks. So the luckily thing for us is that nothing's changed. We went into that game against Wakefield knowing that we were 4 points off the top 6. The results went our way and we're still 4 points off the top 6. But we are running out of time, and I think as long as we can keep improving. I still believe that we should have won at Wakefield. It's always a difficult place to go, whether you're sat 4 points top of the league or whether you're sat in 9th. It always is. But I thought we'd done enough in that game to win it. And but look, when things aren't going your way, they're not going your way. But
do you feel you could be 1 win away from getting going?
I think so. Yeah, and I've always felt in games if we got 2 scores up, then we'd take off in a game as well. But we just can't seem to get that right. But look, there's a lot of tough side and the ugly side of the game that we've got to be prepared to do for longer periods of the time before we can start thinking about scoring tries in playoffs. For me,
is the mood in the camp right? I mean, there were 12 players coming off contract at the end of this season, which does nothing in terms of stability. We hear rumours all the time that Darrell's philosophy doesn't fit with the old hands at Warrington. Mike Cooper is now on his way out. What's the Australian guy's name? Margiolis?
Billy Magoulis.
Close. You see, I'm not doing the job anymore. He's gone.
He's gone.
So there's a clear out. There is a clear. New faces are coming in. There's a clear out underway, and that almost produces uncertainty, produces nervousness in the camp. But in the dressing room, no one's nose to nose with Darrell Powell arguing.
No, not at all. And that's one thing. I think before that period where you can be told whether you're going to stay at Warrington or go around that May time. From my understanding, exactly like you, Eddie, that there was a lot of unrest because there was there was 17 players or something off contract, which is a huge amount of
uncertainty in whatever job, doesn't it?
Exactly, but I think now once that date's passed and everybody kind of knows what the club's intentions are for them and where their intentions are as well, I think a lot of things have been sorted. And since I've come in, when I came in, I thought I'd be coming into this really, awkward, almost locking horns environment, but it certainly hasn't been the case. And I think particularly in the last 2 weeks, from the training sessions we've had, and I keep talking about training because that's where you build your good habits to produce on a Friday night. Well, there's still plenty of graft and care in there, for sure.
And Josh Reynolds has gone as well, hasn't he, from Hull? Yeah. There's another one. More uncertainty. So that
appreciate the insight and being so honest there about Warrington.
That might do you some good.
Right, we're running out of time. Wigan to lose. Well, Matty Pete, what a job he's doing. Won the Challenge Cup as well. Wigan just 4 points off the top.
Indeed, and Matty Pete has proved that St Helens are beatable in a big match. I think I've read somewhere this morning that they're saying at St Helens, Wigan are snapping at their heels now.
I think the old Wigan are coming back. They always would. Philosophy.
They always would, wouldn't they? Wigan Saints, intense rivalry. They're not far off. Matty Pete, Sean O'Loughlin, OBE, congratulations to him for that. And my mate Lee Breers, doing a fantastic job at Wigan. Harry Smith, they're developing. They've got great young forwards, big lads as well. Recruiting well for the future. Wigan are on the way back. Don't worry about that.
Right, let's turn attention to Sunday, Salford, Wakefield. It's a must-win for Salford, this.
and a must-win for Wakefield, Mark, as well. You know, it's this one's too hard to call. You know, I honestly, I don't know about you, Eddie. I can't really pick a winner between these two. You know, both are sat at the wrong end of the table and both want to win. So, you know, it's obviously who wants it more on the day in that one, I think.
Well, they've got to win. You're right. Yeah. Both of them have got to win, particularly Wakefield, because they're like Warrington, you know, in and around that area. And Toulouse, who we expect will go to Wigan and get done in their match, you know, they are saying July is the hot month for them. They've got the magic weekend against Wakefield. They also have 4 straight home games down there in the south of France. And the temperatures last weekend apparently were 40 degrees, so good luck when you go down there in the height of the summer. They've got Hull Kingston Rovers, they've got Leeds, they've got Salford, and they've got Hull, all to play on their own midden with Wakefield at the magic weekend. It's a huge month, July, for Toulouse. If they're going to survive, we'll know by the end of next month.
Hull KR Huddersfield.
Well, Tony Smith dropped the bomb, didn't he? Just after they had the massive win against Hull in the derby in front of a full house. Said he was off. In the Challenge Cup semi-final, Hull Kingston Rovers never turned up, and Huddersfield did them 100%. I'm reading this week they've learned their lessons. They're going to try and come back stronger. Good luck with that, because Huddersfield are a good side, well coached.
Ian Watson's
doing a fantastic job after a similar year last year that Darryl Powell is enduring
stuck
this.
With him.
And they stuck with him.
I think last time I was in here, I said after the Challenge Cup final that Huddersfield, I felt, would fall off a cliff. Well, my word, they've proven me wrong, and they've shown exactly what a different side that they are this year. And when I was at Saints and we played Huddersfield, for me, they give us one of the toughest games, you know, of the year, you know, over the last couple of seasons. So, you know, I think now they are starting to show. And I think if they can go to Hull KR and win at Hull KR off the back of the 2 wins that they've had after the cup loss, for me, you know, that you've got to then start taking them as serious title contenders.
A lot of people thought Huddersfield were the best side.
To the final, didn't
they? They thought Huddersfield were the better side.
They were, you know.
Finally, we are running out of time. Castleford, Catalans don't get the credit they deserve, in my opinion.
No, they don't. Obviously, look, they've got to the grand final last year, and this year they've kind of you'd probably put them at about a 7 out of 10, wouldn't you? You know, in terms of their overall season, they've lost a couple of on the road. You know, last year they were winning predominantly quite a lot of away games. You know, the home form's still pretty solid, but to go to Castleford as well, you know, that's a game that you have to win as well.
You fancy them, you would fancy them. And 16 players coming back to Catalan after this international weekend. They've been all over the place. How proud must Steve McNamara be for that?
He's doing a brilliant job, is Steve McNamara. Right, time for Try of the Week.
Tetifano and Lingy Sao doing the tackling. Williams short ball. Here comes Wardle, and Wardle gets the first try of the game on his England debut.
Hit his lead runners, just builds a tempo to the game. Maybe England could do a bit more. That's
Bateman breaking through. Support from Williams. Williams has got the pace. Has he? Yes, he has.
Going on at the play the ball by the French.
On the back of that was Georgia Welch. The runner is Holly Dodd, and Holly Dodd will strike for England. 2.5 to go. Bennett. That's Roach. Here is Cunningham. Further wide is Goldthorpe, and Goldthorpe's going to look for the line itself. Fran Goldthorpe does provide a final flourish for England.
Bashara wrapped up short side, gets a good play of the ball to Collins. Collins gets it to Hawkins. Oh, it's a wonderful pass, and England are going to score. Halliwell goes over.
Yeah, they'll be disappointed with it, won't they? And Collins off the back of it, down the short side to Bashara, he's away.
Bashara's going to score. Gets it down. England ruthless.
6 tries, but only 1 winner. Head to the R-League app now to vote for your favourite.
Yeah, Try of the Week. Right, we're running out of time. Gents, we've got some great Super League matches, especially looking forward to the double-header, St Helens versus Leeds Rhinos, live on Sky, the women, and then the Betfred Super League for the men. Let's just wrap up with a good weekend for England. All round.
Good weekend all round. You know, 3 from 3. It's perfect for the international game for England, and you know, that's what they'll be wanting ready for, you know, the campaign at the end of the year.
Because it's a huge year, Eddie, isn't it?
Oh, it's massive. And I mean, you know, the Australians get 80,000 to their first state of origin in Sydney. They'll have a full house in Perth. They go into the other end of the country for this, and then they come back to Brisbane. England got allegedly 9,500 at Warrington. Well, I didn't count them all and didn't count them all back out, but there was never 9,500 at Warrington. We have got to, if we're going to be taken seriously as a sport in this country, we've got to, as you said earlier on, we've got to make sure that Newcastle is full or as near to full as possible.
It's got to be, to giving them a chance as well.
It is a World Cup year. I want to see stands packed. I don't want to see empty seats all over the place. And let's hope, after the international break, we move on now to the grand final, we sell that out, and hey lads, hey, we go into the World Cup. It's a big year, massive.
It's a huge year, the World Cup as well, and we're the principal partners at Betfred of the England team at the World Cup. Very proud to announce that. Thanks for watching. Thanks, fellas. See you next week.